He is the co-founder, resident okay, this is a hard one. Philosoraptor, thank you. That's Philosoraptor. He is a resident Philosoraptor, and scooter driver of No Location. So I could do a little intro about No Location, or you just want to go with it?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, quick intro. What the hell is No Location for all of you guys here? So the theme today is startups that do travel startups, all right? So that's a theme today. And I lost my place here, hold on. All right, so what is, No Location is a large group accommodation service that helps companies, events, or any large group find perfect tailor-fit accommodation complete with quality assurance for both the event itself and the members in attendance. I know we have a big group here right now that actually use them, called Hacker Paradise, so welcome guys as well. So I will hand it over now to Brett to do his thing.
Hello, thank you. Get the slideshow going. All right, yep. Cool. So, hello, thank you. I'm from No Location. So, I currently represent half of No Location. The other half is represented right here by Dea. So, all right, cool. So, let's get into this. So, as she said, No Location is a large group accommodation service. And we take care of big groups, events, and we do this in Bali, and soon we'll be doing this in other places. So, all right, so we have kind of a cool story for how No Location started. So I originally came to Bali to set up a language center, and that totally bombed. So I found myself in a position where I had no money and I had to figure out something. So what ended up happening was in the midst of all this, oh no, what do I do? My friend came to me, and what had happened is he got a new girlfriend, and his girlfriend had just gotten a divorce, and in the divorce, her husband said, just keep the summer house. And it turns out the summer house is this huge villa here in Bali, and it was just costing her money, and she didn't know what to do with it. So he asked me if I had any ideas, so me and Dea got together, and we were like, we could try turning this into a co-working, co-living space. So that's what we started doing, and while we were learning how difficult it is to set one of those up, we got an email from Casey at Hacker Paradise, and yeah, Hacker Paradise, everybody. So they sent us an email, and they were like, do you have room for 50 people? And we were like, no, that's a lot of people. And so we were just gonna send him an email back saying like, no, we can't. But then we were like, wait a second, there's an opportunity here. Where can you fit 50 people in Bali? And from that, No Location was born, and we became a kind of scouting service. Okay, so No Location answers the question, where? If you are doing an event where you take people to other countries, I mean, there is a lot of where questions. Where does everybody sleep? Where do I get the most bang for my buck? Where is the place that has the maximum amount of interest for the maximum amount of the people attending my event? And those can be very expensive questions to answer on your own, especially when you're over in another continent and you're trying to find out about a place that you're not actually at the moment. So we figured we could answer those questions for people. All right, so our service, in addition to answering the question where, we do this thing that I like to call divining actuality from reality. So let me explain that, it's a fun concept. So we have a friend who's really interesting. We'll just leave it at that, he's interesting. And whenever I say the word really, he always just interrupts me and goes, actually. And the reason is because the word real comes from the Spanish word reale, which means money. And he's not too big on money, so he doesn't like anything real because it's defined by money. He prefers actual. And so the way that we applied that in our business is we realized the internet can lie to you. You know, reviews can be faked, things can be photoshopped. So if you want to find the best of the best, you can't do it by just looking at user reviews and pictures. You know, you actually should have someone who actually steps inside and sees the place. So this is what we offer. In addition to just finding accommodation, we make sure that you are going to be wowed rather than whoa. All right. So, funding. No Location is a 100% $0 bootstrapped startup. We did this with absolutely nothing. So from the time we landed our first client, we went from theoretical to just instant profitability. And things have been going really good. So it's fun to have a company that's just instantly profitable. So we are open to investment opportunities if anybody feels that they could offer us something. But for the moment, we're very happy that we are what we are. We're very proud to be a bootstrapped business. Our size. Oh, our size is so small. This is us. Just 2 people. 2 scooters, 2 laptops, and this really corny one dream. Yeah, you know, we both wanted to have something that was ours. We didn't want to have to report to anybody. And so, yeah, we took what we already had in our life, we rearranged its function, and now we have a company that's working. And we're very, very excited about that. So we will be bigger eventually, but for now, we're doing very big things with just 2 people. Okay, so market size and competition. How big is this fish? Okay, so as far as the market size, we are operating in a niche market. It's not the entire thing, it's just a small part of it. But it turns out that this niche is growing because all over the world, as many of you guys know, jobs are becoming dislocated from their physical location, allowing people to actually work from a laptop and go around abroad. And because of this, what's happening is there are just tons of services and companies popping up to accommodate this demand, you know, this demand for novelty and travel. And so in addition to the already established tourism industry and then other events, you know, typical things like people wanting to do like the Songwriting Academy, they're a client I'll talk about in a minute. It's a growing market. The market itself is really big. Now this is what's really fun. As far as competition goes, we don't know of any direct competitor. There's other people that will accommodate large groups, but they do it differently than we do. They don't focus entirely on the large group. So, for instance, they might make a deal with a particular place, an accommodation place, and they'll say that they'll bring a client to that place. So, essentially what they're doing is they're working for the place and not the large group. We're the opposite. We do not work with the accommodation place. We don't make contracts with them. We work for the large group. We don't stop until the large group gets what they need. And that's pretty cool. All right, revenue. So as I just said, we don't make exclusive deals with the accommodation place. We do it with the large group. And as a scouting service, that's really a very necessary thing to make sure that the group and event is getting what they need and what they want. So the difference between the client's budget and what we negotiate to be what we think is a fair price for the accommodation and other services, that's where our profit is. And what's really cool about this is because we're bootstrapped, we came from zero, we can adjust that margin as much or as little as we need to protect our bottom line, or to make sure that we are establishing quality relationships. So another startup that's here tonight is Project Getaway, run by Miss Lavinia. Where are you, Lavinia? Lavinia? Where is she? Oh, she's over there somewhere. She is amazing. You guys have to get to know her. So what happened is Project Getaway came to us and they wanted our services. And it turned out that the way things were, we would get like a really small commission. And you know, if we were just looking at the bottom line, we'd have been like, oh no, we probably shouldn't do this one. We'll just tell them we can't and go to the next one. But we felt like, no, she's a really valuable person for our personal connections and for everything. And we thought that there was something worth more than money there. So we did the job, we took the very, very small thing, and she has turned out to be worth more than we could ever have possibly imagined. She has introduced us to so many new clients and new people, and it has just really taken our business to the next level. So for that, we can't say thank you enough. Customer acquisition. We do this really simply. We don't really focus on it. What we do is we rely on word of mouth. You know, we believe that if you like something, you'll talk about it. If somebody likes something, they'll talk about it. And so, as we said, jobs are becoming increasingly unplugged from location. And people are traveling in these groups and in these cool things like Hacker Paradise and Project Getaway. And it's important because they're in an environment. And for this environment to thrive, people have to share information about quality services, quality products. And so instead of dumping a bunch of money into Google AdWords and things, we're finding that for us, word of mouth is just working better than anything else. Oddly enough, the second best thing that works is my Instagram account. I post cool photos on Instagram, which is where these come from, by the way. And then with the right hashtags, people follow me, and then we go send them an email. And some of them have turned into our clients too, so it's pretty cool. All right, biggest challenges for us. It's not exactly what you think it would be. Our biggest challenge is not finding customers. Our biggest challenge is not finding places. Our biggest challenge has to do with people whose mindsets are kind of stuck in the past. So for accommodation, what's going on is, like any market, the market fluctuates, demands change, and people that are operating in that market have to be able to know what's going on there. And so for us, one of the big problems is the accommodation providers. A lot of them don't realize that they need to be flexible with what's going on. It's not like it was before with people just coming for a short vacation and then going home after their honeymoon. I mean, there's demands for internet, there's demands for entertainment, there's demands for group cohesion. And so the biggest thing we find is that it's very difficult to find an accommodation provider who is willing to see what they have as an investment that can be improved upon. Because whenever we bring a group that wants something changed, and that change is actually for the better of that property and will raise its value, we have to find people that can think like that. And that's actually very difficult. But it's not too challenging, it's just our biggest challenge. Oh, company culture! This one's kind of fun, all right? This is where I spend most of my time thinking about it. So we don't actually have a culture yet because there's just two of us. So we have a company relationship. But once we start moving into 3, 4, and so on, we will have a company culture. Now, the thing is, one of the reasons that I went broke and had to start the company in the first place is that I did not want another job. I mean, I don't know how many of you have felt like that, like you don't want another job. So we think about, like, how do we keep this beautiful thing we've built that we're very happy being inside, and how do we keep that as it grows and gets bigger? So one of the ways we do that is we use Scrum and Agile, an Agile methodology called Scrum. So we've modified it to fit our business. So if you don't know anything about Scrum, Scrum is basically a task-based system for getting things done and managing time and what they call velocity, which is how much you can get done at what quality, doing better over time. So we have a 1-week sprint. We do everything in one week. We measure everything, and we come up with tasks. And when we get employees, this is what we want to measure. We want to measure the tasks. Are the tasks getting done? Are the tasks getting done at a level of quality we like? If they are, and the employee is finished, they can go do what they like. We like that. We don't want to manage their time. Because we know what the value of 5 tasks is. We don't know what the value of 8 hours is. And we prefer to get tasks from people rather than large chunks of their day. Alright, the next part of the company culture that we work with is a little bit strange. I don't know if any of you know about semantics, but it's a kind of older science that nobody really studies anymore, except maybe me and a couple of other people. And in semantics, they have 2 kinds of words. The first kind of word is called a referential word, and the second kind of word is called a non-referential word. So a referential word just means that it's something you interact with one of your 5 senses or more. And a non-referential word exists purely as a concept in the mind. Now, a lot of businesses, a lot of places, especially places I worked at before, they try to measure non-referential words. So an example of a non-referential word would be passion. You really can't measure passion. You can kind of think, you can look and see if it's there, but you can't measure it. Another problem with non-referential words is that everybody has their own definition of that word, which means no 2 people have the same definition, which means that when 2 people use that word to talk, they're not actually communicating. They're just throwing syllables at each other. So we avoid the non-referential word like a plague. We try to avoid it for everything, especially measurement, so that we don't end up making anybody unhappy. The next thing after that is we're doing something that I have wanted to try for a long time, and now that I have a company, I'm very, very excited to experiment with this. And this is what I call the time-locked clause. So instead of coming up with an entire contract for an employee, we go without the contract. If it's working, it's working. If the tasks are getting done, they're getting done. If the employee knows their role, they know their role. Right? So if that's not all working correctly, then what we'll do is we'll make a single contract clause with a time limit, and we'll give that to the employee and see if it fixes the problem. If that fixes the problem, the time limit's up, the contract clause goes away, and we see if the problem stays fixed. If it doesn't, then we renew the time lock on it. So the reason being for this is that if you think about a magic spell, when someone casts a magic spell, the whole idea is that it changes someone's behavior, right? That's what a contract does. And we kind of think of that as a kind of mental violence that happens. You know, I mean, if you want, there's ways to do it without violence, which is what we're trying to do. But with a contract, it really is the threat of violence. It's you do this or you get fired. And that can cause a lot of stress with people. And we don't want to cause that. So we do the time contract clauses. So when we have more data on that, I'll be happy to share that with you. But for now, that's it. All right. Okay, no location in 3 years. At the velocity that no location is currently going, if we keep our trend, we're going to be in 3 continents in 3 years. We're going to be in Asia, we're going to be in South America, and we're going to be in Europe. And that is really exciting, because we really don't need that many people to do that either. We may have just 8 people taking care of 3 continents, and who knows how many countries. So we'll obviously have more scooters and more laptops and all that stuff. But the thing is, in 3 years, we can actually be quite big because we hit the ground running, which is really cool. All right, us in a nutshell. No location in 3 words. Trump for president. No, I'm just kidding. I guess no one was paying attention to the internet. No one laughed.
Did we decide what our words were?
Okay, for me personally, if I wanted to say what no location is in 3 words, I would say this: because it's interesting. Alright, here's something I learned by myself. And that goes like this. If someone is actually interested in what they're doing, they are not only going to continue doing it, but they're going to find ways to do it better and better and better over time. You see, any kid who's interested, genuinely interested in a sport, they start figuring out plays, they start figuring out positions, they start figuring out as much as they can. And so, if people are interested in what they're doing, they will actually do better and better and better over time. And they'll accept more and more information from you and more help. And if you have people genuinely interested in working for your company, they'll make your company better. And your company needs to be interested in those people and help them too. So for me, I do no location because it's interest. All right. Time for Q&A. If anyone has any questions for me, please.
Thank you, Brett. All right, guys. We can do, give a big round of applause. Very interesting. Good learning from that presentation. Well done. So you mentioned you went from bootstrapping to profitable. How did you do that so fast?
We aren't entirely sure. We got random emails. So the first thing was obviously Hacker Paradise. They called us and we went okay, we can figure out how to do something for these guys. And then after that, she just started talking about it at work, and then that's how she met, that's how we got Project Getaway. And then everyone after that, we're not entirely sure where they're coming from. They're just sending us emails. So that's, the first thing is if you have a client, you give them what they want, the transaction goes, you've got money, and now you can take that money and do more and more stuff with it. So.